Hey, Brenda. I'm just testing this. Can you hear me over there? Can you hear me? Just a heads up, it's almost 7. At 7 o'clock, I'd like to call the Kentucky Valley Regional School Board meeting to order at 7 o'clock. If we could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I haven't heard from Jim yet, Brenda. I'll give him a ring in a second here, okay? We're going to need to go into non-public. Board members, through guidance of our superintendent, who has, oh, here we go. Hold on a second, Jim. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, all right. We have called the meeting to order. When we go into non-public, not only do you have to say your name, so once I read, we'll go into non-public, we'll ask for a motion. So when you say your name, you get to say yay or nay. So I would say Dick, yay, or yes. And we have to do that each time that we go into non-public to make sure we're doing it by the rules. So, anyway, under RSA 91-A:3, common Roman numeral 2, for legal purposes, could I have a motion to go into non-public? Could I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. Dick, yes?
Jim, yes.
Tom, yes.
Mike, yes.
Jim Frederickson, is yours?
Yeah, Jim, yes.
Yes, all right. We'll be a non-public. I don't know how long it'll take. We'll make it as short as we possibly can. This is for legal information. Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? All right, sealed for 5 years. Thank you.
It's too bad the towns can't do it.
I know. Well, they couldn't have heard that anyway, so. Um, All right, so we'll be back in session. Next on the agenda is Points of Pride. We have a single Points of Pride tonight that's going to be offered by one of our board members. Dan?
Thank you, Dick. On New Year's Day, there was a road race in Temple, and I believe it's the Temple Peanut Butter Chip 5K. It's been going on for close to 50 years, correct, Jim? And our Heather, principal at Conval, came in second place in her age division. I'll let her tell you the age division. I'm not going to do that. But I do want to bring up another point. I see Heather at a lot of community events, road races, children in the arts, the lantern lighting ceremonies. And I think it serves as a role model for communication. She's accessible, she's approachable, and it allows the community to better understand what Conval's all about. It builds trust. I mean, I could go on and on and on about all the benefits of staff being involved in different community events. I don't know if Woody Allen really said this or not, but his famous quote is 60% of life is just showing up. And that's what I think about Heather and all she's done for Conval. And if you'd come up to the make-believe podium, I'll be happy to present you with your...
I think every board member here, Dan, would second what you just said. No question. Thank you.
It's not just about being a fast runner. So that's the point I wanted to make.
Well, when you have children, you need to be fast, whether they're young or old. Approval of the manifest.
Good evening.
I certify the manifest listed below totaling $2,020,338.99 have been reviewed by me and found to be proper charges against Kentucky Valley School District for goods and or services received and have been properly processed prior to their submittal to the school board.
Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve the,
It's been moved. Can I have a second? It's moved and seconded. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions. Thank you. Appointment of school district clerk. This requires a board vote. So I'm going to let the superintendent explain why we wanted to do this tonight.
By RSA, we need to annually appoint the school district clerk, which is Brenda Marshak. So one of school district clerk's roles is to keep the records of the school board with her meeting minutes, as well as put together the warrant. So we just need to make sure that we do that annually.
So if I could have a motion?
I move, I move we appoint Brenda Marshak as the school district clerk for the next year.
Second, with gratitude.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Abstentions. All right. There you go, Brenda. You don't have enough to do. At this point, our agenda is for public comment. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the board, this is the time that we can do it. Please come forward. Give us your town, your name you're from, and push the mic so a little green light comes on, please. We'll give the people 2 minutes.
3 minutes later. Hi, I'm Christy Green, and I'm from the town of Dublin. And I came to give a commercial about something. But first, I just wanted to say that tonight I went on the school board website, which does look lovely. It looks different from the last time I was there. And I went to find your agenda and your minutes, and I didn't get to that. I found that I had to sign in. First, I was expected to give my phone or my telephone number, and then I was expected to go on either Google or Facebook or Office 3 something or whatever. And I stopped there. And so it used to be that I could just go onto the board website and it was right there and nothing. So I would like you to look at your thing, your website, and see if that's what you really meant to have happen. And someone could please contact me if I'm wrong about that, because I would love to know how to do it in a much more simple way. But in this day and age of giving away your data, and wanting to be more transparent as a school board, I really hope that that's something that can change. And I really hope that I'm wrong about that experience. Thank you. The commercial that I wanted to give you for was Article 16 of the Articles of Agreement. And I know that you have a great deal on your plate, but one of the things I've heard over and over again is how antiquated the Articles of Agreement are. And I was interested in going back to those foundational document, and I found Article 16, which says that the articles can be most effective if they accurately reflect, to the extent practical, current conditions in the district schools and administration. To achieve this result, the Articles of Agreement should be reviewed and possibly updated at least every 3 years, once every 3 years. These reviews can be conducted by the Conval School Board or the Conval Selectmen's Advisory Committee, or both. And I thought to myself, you know, that's one way that we can make the Articles of Agreement be living. And if we could find out when the issues come up and have those august bodies, you and the Select Board, look at them, then we might be able to have the Articles of Agreement be more of a living document and an effective document. I also found that it tells you how to do this process, and it refers to Article 18, of which it does not appear anywhere. So I'm not certain that you have a proper number of Articles of Agreement that you're giving out, nor are they on the website. So 16 is the last one that I have a copy of. So I would request that you checked on your website and your foundation documents to see how many Articles of Agreement they are, and that they really appear so that people can effectively use them. Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan isn't here this evening. Communications, Alan?
Communications had a meeting today, and what we are doing is that we're going to wait until the board votes on what we've been working on, which is the bond issue, before we do anything more on that, and that should happen tonight.
Any questions? All right, thank you. I'm going to go to Curtis and the Selectmen, and then I'll go to Jim Frederickson. Curtis, Selectmen Advisory.
Thank you. The Selectmen's Advisory Committee met on Thursday, December 19th. Our meeting covered 2 main agenda items. The first consisted of an update on activities surrounding the CTE and high school renovations, and the response to the community forum held earlier in December. We informed the committee of the board's decision to eliminate the plan to renovate the Lucy Hurlin Theater. An active and lengthy discussion ensued surrounding plans that are still on the table. The discussion touched on the origins of the planning, guidance given to the architects relating to costs throughout the process, community and local business involvement in the CTE and CTE programming, cost projections, the timing of quotes from the bond bank. We invited select board reps to share their feedback on the forum and the project as a whole. And we listened to both their own individual perspectives as well as a distillation of their residents' views. It was a good discussion. While I was left with an impression of support for the mission and programming of the CTE itself, I also must report broad trepidation regarding the cost of the proposal. Our second agenda item covered the state's planned funding reduction of the special education aid program. The Education Commissioner's plan will see a 32.5% reduction in aid in 2025. Our spending on special ed and related services won't, of course, decrease by a third, as these services are mandated by state law that incorporates federal IDEA law. Our forthcoming budget plans for a reduction in special education aid revenue of $175,000. I prepared and shared an estimated tax impact of this loss of revenue to better illustrate what it costs each Convow town and resident therein. I share with the committee my opinion that to not respond to the deepening of this unfunded mandate is to tacitly accept it. I proposed that the Communications Committee draft a letter to each state house and Senate representative serving our district's towns. This letter would serve to explain the impact that a further downshifting of costs will have on our residents and appeal to them to reconsider these cuts as they enter their budget process. I asked the selectmen present that if the school board were to approve and sign a letter, would they be willing to add their signatures to it as well? They unanimously agreed to do so. A good dialogue ensued around the importance of special education, its funding, and the burden that unfunded mandates place on our district and its residents. The Communications Committee will draft this letter in the coming weeks and submit it for the board's approval and signatures at our next meeting. If this is done, I will bring it back to our next SAC meeting at the end of the month. Thank you.
Any questions for Curtis? Thank you, Curtis. Jim, can you hear me still?
Yes, I can.
All right, I got you down to the mic, so hopefully people can hear you. Go ahead.
So one of the items, first item we talked about was the fiscal year 26 budget, the default budget, and we saw the first draft of it. And we collectively decided that the first draft was not ready for presentation to the rest of the board. So the item further on the agenda, we'll probably skip over item 10A on the agenda. No need to do that. We talked about the trust fund, proposed trust fund warrant articles, which I shared with you the last board meeting. We've decided to revise that, and I will send out a document today that captures the new recommendations, and everybody will get that. And we'll vote on 21st of the next board meeting, the 21st, we'll vote on the actual warrant articles. We talked a great deal about withdrawal costs, how do we get the best information available at the time in front of the voters, and I think Dean discussed it more eloquently than I ever could, so I'm just going to skip over it. And the last thing, which is not on the budget property agenda, but we do need to go into, I guess we'll call a recess now, is as you know, during a non-public last board meeting, we talked about a collective bargaining agreement. We shook hands with the union. They ratified it this afternoon, so we're going to need to discuss it during the recess and then come back and vote on acceptance of the warrant article. Acceptance of the collective bargaining agreement, which would be subject to the warrant article, I should say. That's it.
All right, thank you, Jim. So what we need to do now is, because non-public cannot be, we can't go into negotiations, we have to recess the board. So I'd like us to move that we recess this meeting for 15 minutes for the purpose of discussing negotiations with the CVEA under RSA 91-A:2, Roman numeral 1, A identifies negotiations with respect to collective bargaining as a non-meeting. So I have a motion. Can I have a second?
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Board member. Yes, Doc. This will only take us a few minutes. No, we need to do it now. Okay? All right. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Nay? Abstentions. Okay. So we'll just recess the board meeting for 15 minutes.
when we get to 10A, we'll cover that, okay?
We're gonna, all right, I'd like to call the meeting back in session. Next on the agenda is a consent agenda. Any questions on the consent agenda? We have, I had one question on retirement that's listed on our agenda. If that would have a financial impact on this year. Because the request, as I saw that, was December. Make sure I'm correct.
Next year.
December of 2025. So,
Will it have an impact on this school year?
no, on the budget for next year. Because if you retire in 2025, if you have any funds coming back, vacation days or sick and personal, we would then be responsible for paying for those. But that would be in the 25-26 school year. So would we have budgeted for that? That's my question, if there is any.
So there's always some financial impacts of somebody retiring. And if we wanted to get into specifics, we'd have to go into non-public. But this is notification. This is not something you need to approve. SAU administrator contracts, they have to give notice to the superintendent by
Okay.
January 15th if they're going to retire. So she has provided her notice.
Okay. My concern is to make sure that we don't end up having to shortchange anybody because of timing or something like that. I'm not opposed to it. I just want to make sure that we don't do that. So, okay. So, any other questions? I guess I'm the only one that had it. All right, thank you. Superintendent's report, monthly calendars, please.
Okay. So there are important meetings in January, so, we only had tonight's budget and property and the school board meeting for this week. Anything else happening this week? Okay, so next week on Thursday, we'll have the budget hearing at 7 p.m. and a bond hearing, if applicable, to follow. Anything else for that week? Jim, did you want to propose a budget and property meeting
For
next week?
21st, I thought we talked about.
He's talking about the 21st, not the 16th.
Okay. Oh,
Communications, you're going to have a meeting on the 14th.
okay. The week of the 20th, the district's closed on the 20th, but on the 21st, that's our snow date for the budget hearing, which would be at 6:30 p.m. if applicable. The bond hearing, we need to do a snow date, and then a school board meeting. So that,
Let's put a budget and property meeting at 5:30, which we won't have if there's a snow day if we have put.
Okay, budget and property at 5:30. All right? 23rd.
if there's not a snow date, are you meeting later? Are you going to stick to 5:30?
We'll probably meet and we'll disband if we need to.
Okay.
We'll keep it. We'll play it by ear, see what happens.
Okay,
And then Selectmen's Advisory on Thursday, the 23rd, and that's it for that week, unless. The final week in January, we've got a policy meeting on the 28th at 6 o'clock. Anything else? Okay. In February, during the first week of February and February 4th, we have the deliberative session at 6 p.m. in the CVHS gym with a snow date of Wednesday, the 5th. Anything else that week?
Correct.
All right, the week of February 10th, the only thing we currently have scheduled is a community forum in the LHT at the high school at 7 p.m.
Say again. 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock.
The community forum would be about budget.
Go ahead, Jim. What's your question?
Community forum, so we should probably schedule a, I don't want to schedule a budget property meeting. We need one with sort of community forum. What do you guys think?
Schedule budget and property right before the community forum?
No,
No,
before that
Oh.
date.
Oh, yeah, yes, probably.
Let's go Thursday the 6th. You guys okay with that one?
Thursday, the 6th, budget and property.
Maybe we can make it later, 6 o'clock if you guys want.
All right, 6. You're getting a yes here, Jim.
All right, the week of February 17th, we currently have scheduled a school board meeting on the 18th at 7 p.m. And we have a snow date for the community forum on the 19th. Following public hearings. Is that copied from the? And during the final week of February, we've got a policy committee meeting on Tuesday, the 25th, and a selectmen's advisory on Thursday at 7 p.m. Which is
Is
also our
Is the
school
district,
vacation,
I was
right?
gonna say, is the district offices closed at all that week?
Well, the district is not closed, but schools are on closed, or they're on vacation. Okay, anything else?
Right. Anything else? Any questions? Okay. Acceptance of a gift, Conville High School request authorization to accept a gift donation of $1,000 from Kristen and David Galland for the purpose of supporting the Hope Squad. Could I have a motion?
I move that we accept the gift of $1,000 from Kristen and David Garland to the Conval High School to be used to support the Hope Squad.
Second? It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Okay. No other questions? All right. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Abstentions. All right. A field trip request from Conval High School varsity wrestling team. Will be traveling to Virginia's Brighams High School in Vermont on January 17th through the 18th on 2025 by bus for competition. Because it's overnight, board needs to authorize that. Could I have a motion?
Can I just
Yes.
clarify something? So I just wanted to make sure that we had this right, because they have their departure time listed as 3 p.m. on the 18th. So it is an overnight, it's the 17th to the 18th?
17th to the 18th.
Okay, so the departure time would then be 3 on the 17th.
I'm getting a yes from Larry in the back. Yes. Right. Could I have a motion? Can I have a second? Moving to second. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions. Good luck to them. School board request.
So school board requests Dan had asked for information on gifted and talented, and I know that we talked, but I don't think I sent out anything through board requests officially. So I just wanted to, can you clarify again? I can share the policy. And then other pieces at the elementary level specific. Okay. Well, there's only one policy available, but there may be additional materials that I can share, but it would differ by level probably. Okay. But this is elementary in particular that, okay. I will send something out. And then we have a board request that came in today around special education funding that will get out.
We're going to table the default calculations till our next board meeting. The bond, Jim, you were going to speak to this?
Suggest we do the CDA first.
Oh.
I think that should be the order we should do it in.
Right, didn't we come out and vote on the CVA con? Oh, well, thank you. Hey, blame it on my age, okay? Could I have a motion? Could I have a motion?
We don't have a motion. Let me explain it. I'll make the motion.
All right,
This is for the sake of the public and others in the room that weren't privy to what's going on. Is everybody, our current collective bargaining agreement with the Kentucky Valley Education Association expires at the end of this fiscal year. We've been meeting with the union, representatives of the union, over the past several months. We started, I think, in July. And just before this Christmas break, we shook hands on the agreement. Union ratified the agreement this afternoon. The board discussed it during the recent recess, and now it's time for the board to vote on the 2-year agreement. So I make the motion that we approve the proposed 2-year agreement. The collective bargaining agreement will add $852,000 in year 1 of the agreement and $806,000 in the second year of the agreement.
could I have a second?
If the board approves this, there will be warrant article on the July ballot, the March ballot, which voters will need to approve in order to go into effect.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions from board members? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Abstentions? All right, passed.
Great, thank you,
All
everybody.
right, yep, thank you, Jim.
I'd like to thank members of both the CVA negotiation committee and the board's negotiation committee. It was truly, I think, a win-win. The environment was just conducive to that, and I think the agreement we reached reflects that. Thank you.
Thank you guys for all your hard work. I know it was ours, so thank you. All right, next, Jim's the bond.
Okay, so this one, I would like to take a little bit of time to set this one up. First of all, I'd like to give a brief history, a summary of the options before I present the motion. This program actually started several years ago. The timing for this discussion tonight was driven by, for the whole project, was driven by a state program for CTE renovation that would require approval of a bond on the March 25 ballot. That's why we're talking about this. We hired an architect. The project was focused on the CTE renovation and the capturing of state funds. We also looked at the high school renovation, and what some people don't know is we also looked at the middle school renovation. All of these renovations will still need to be done regardless of what we decide tonight and what the voters decide in March. The building committee looked at several options and decided to move forward with a design that would, can't read my own writing, that would involve modernization of the CTE and provide, can't read my own writing, it's bad, and would provide significant changes to the improvements to the high school, along with the redesign of the Lucy Hurling Theater. At the last board meeting, the board voted to drop the Lucy Hurling Theater from consideration. That leaves us 3 options. Let me just review those 3 options. One is to move forward with the CTE high school project that we've been talking about, the community forum, we've been talking about for a long time. Second option is to do nothing. There is no bond. The third option I just want to put out there is to go forward with a downsized a downgrade, whatever you want to call it, a smaller high school portion of the project, but that is not practical to do at this time. That really leaves us with just two choices. We can go forward with the bond, or we can do nothing. So here's my motion. And this motion is directed to this 33.4 million CT high school project. I move that we approve the inclusion of the warrant article on the March ballot for an $18.7 million bond that would be required to move forward with a secure $14.7 million of state funding for the proposed CT high school renovation project. That's my motion.
I have a second. It's been moved and seconded. Questions?
Having said that, I think I agree with a lot of people. I think the timing of this is just horrendous for us. We need to do the work, but the hot timing probably couldn't be any worse. So I intend to vote no on this one. I don't think we should move forward. So leave it up to everybody else to add their 2 cents.
Questions, comments from board members? Jim Frederickson, Kingston?
Yeah, I agree. This is bad timing, and I think that with the theater taken out of consideration, that the plan should have been and could be modified to provide CTE refurbishment, enhanced CTE opportunities, but not at the cost of this project.
Other questions, comments? So I'm going to ask for a vote. The vote would be in favor of the motion, which would to be bring forward the bond as presented by Jim Frederickson. Any other clarifications you need? So I'm going to,
A nay vote would mean no warrant article in the bond, and we put this project in the back burner.
if people, right, they're going to vote either this up or down, Jim. And then we'll go
Right.
back to the other option, because you got to vote on both if we're going to do that. All right, so,
No, if we vote nay, that means we don't go forward with the bond and this project's on the back burner.
correct.
Right.
Let's just do this motion. All those in favor of going forward with the bond, please indicate by raising your hand, which would be affirmative. Please raise your hand.
My hand is not up.
Right.
Neither is mine.
So, all right, thank you. All those opposed to bringing this issue forward at this point, please raise your hands.
Mine's up. My hand is raised.
Okay. So we had one in the affirmative and the remainder were, raise your hands again in the negative. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Tom was a no too. All right, 9 in the negative. All right, so.
I think it's literally back to the drawing board, guys.
All right, so at this point, we need to go back and see what the new plan will be on the CTE at the high school and what renovations are going to take place. Any other questions for board members? All right. Policy, a second read. Janine?
So second reading on AC, if you remember, and I would ask for a motion to approve policy AC, non-discrimination, equal opportunity employment, and anti-discrimination.
I move that we approve policy AC, non-discrimination, equal opportunity employment, and anti-discrimination plan.
Can I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed, nay. Abstentions. All right, thank you. Janine, new business.
IKF, graduation requirements, that policy simply removed the factual requirement and instructed the school districts to
provide information about this rather than requiring information.
I move that we approve policy IKF, high school graduation.
Could I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions. All right. Janine.
Okay, then third policy is APAC, and it's the 2024 version, Title IX, prohibition of sex discrimination, sex-based harassment policy and grievance procedure. And we had previously approved this policy, adopted this policy. We brought it back out for clarification because we will now have to, because of the lawsuit, several, he was for Dublin, and it was, and the high school were, not high school, yes, were added to, the lawsuit that would require us to go back to the 2020 version of APAC. So, this is a second read on the part of the board to review, the policy APAC 2024.
I believe the change we made to this from what we emergency approved was to add the word school, correct? To the number of days.
Correct? So could I have a motion?
I move that we approve policy ACAC 2024 version, Title IX, prohibition of sex discrimination and sex-based harassment policy and grievance procedure.
Second? It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions. Okay. Janine.
So, and then we have the first read on two policies, policy ACAC 2020 version, and this is brought forward again with a deleted phrase that removes, it's a little bit complicated. Okay, so the 2020 version, actually, it, for the schools that are part of the lawsuit, this will apply to them. There is actually a phrase deleted that includes gender discrimination. And it was included in 2020 because we have a state law that actually prevents discrimination, gender discrimination. But we're deleting it for the purposes of the lawsuit. So this 2020 version that is going for a first read before the board is to comply with the lawsuit or to until the decision is made. So you can please read it through and notice the deleted phrase, and we will ask for a second read at our next meeting. The second policy that's up for a first read is KFD, use of automated external defibrillators. And I think on that one, we were simply waiting for the website and like whether we had to actually go in and register the defibrillators.
No, I think that was a different one. This one, we modified it so that there wasn't a penalty for someone who hasn't received authorized training to use an AED in an emergency situation.
Okay, and then at the same time, I think we're supposed to rescind GBGBA and JLCEA, which are the exact same policy, only in different places in our policy. But we don't have that on the thing, so we'll have to do that next time.
Okay.
Oh, we do. Okay, great. I forgot my glasses. Okay, so we're also rescinding JVAB, the transgender and gender nonconforming students. And that policy it directed the administration to provide extra support to those students who are discriminated against, specifically because of transgender and gender nonconforming. But we amended that and took that directive for all students, anybody that was suffering or could potentially suffer discrimination because of discriminating characteristic, and we added it to AC. So we are
rescinding JBAB.
Could I have a motion?
Oh, wait, we don't, it's only first read, I think, isn't it? Yes, first read.
Is it a first read?
Yeah, it's a first read.
Okay.
It's
It's a
rescinding,
rescind,
no,
so,
we're
yeah,
rescinding,
so, you know, I'm,
So, do we have to do the three separately, or can we do them all together?
you have to do them each individually.
Oh, okay, all right.
So,
Oh, they're not, okay.
so could I have a motion to rescind JBAB? Could I have a second? Moved and seconded. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions. Okay, it's rescinded. Draft warrant article. Okay, board vote required.
So a board vote is required, but not tonight. So you've been provided a draft of the warrant article. There are obviously things that we're still waiting on. For example, we were waiting on the bond. We haven't hit the deadline for any petitioned warrant articles to come in, so it is in draft status, but we've shared it with you to review, and, but we'll need to vote on it, we'll need to vote it on it at the January 21st board meeting.
Questions? All right. Yes, Jim.
You can just send them to me.
Send it in. Any other questions? All right. Appointment of alternates to the Student Discipline Review Committee. So I'll let Ann explain a bit of, we have 2 members now and
Well, we have, I think to give some context, when we have a student discipline, when it gets referred to me and I refer it to the board, we need to pull together a group of the board members to hear it, and we have a tight timeline, so I think it will be good to have alternate members that we can draw from when we need to. And I think one of the things to think about on our website, we've said if you have employees, if you have relatives who are employees, encourages, I think the wording says not to come to the meetings, and then it says that board members that have children should not serve on this committee.
To
With
clarify,
that is-
children in the district.
In the district, yes, sorry. With that is something that we're opposing in our district. We don't have, that's something that we have decided. So I'm thinking for alternates, when we need somebody, it may be, as long as a person feels like they could be impartial, and if we need people, we want to be able to draw on people, so.
so the question would be, the present committee is made up of,
Janine, Tom Burgess, and Mike Hoyt right now.
okay, so is there anyone who does not have a spouse? Okay, so would either of you, would both of you be willing to be alternatives if we need them? And so we have 2 we could call on if need be. Jim and Doc.
And are there any others that would be
Anyone else?
interested if we?
Jim said you could put his name on the bottom of the list. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Ann?
I'm looking for someone to make a motion to partially unseal the non-public minutes of November 19th related to legal advice regarding the implementing of Title IX. And I'm asking for that because in our last meeting and just now, we talked about how we're implementing the new regulations in some schools, and we're reverting to the old regulations in 3 of our schools. So there's no reason to keep those minutes.
So move.
It's moved and seconded. Any questions? Okay, all those in favor of releasing that section of non-public, please indicate by saying aye. Yeah, those opposed, nay. Abstention. Okay, thank you. This point in our agenda is for public comment. Is there anyone who would like to make public comment this time? All right, not seeing any. We need to go into non-public again.
For student.
All right, we need to go into non-public under RSA 91-A: 3, comma, Roman number 2, C. Could I have a motion based off of that? Could I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. Dick, yay? All right, we are in non-public. Yep, and Jim? Yes. All right, you're in.